Good morning, Tuesday the 17th of March. Happy St Patrick's Day, everybody. I posted this morning on social media, on my YouTube, my Facebook page and on Instagram, and asked if you guys would be interested in a video diary, a daily sort of video diary from me over the next few weeks at least. Sort of vlogmas style, although I don't say that in a flippant way, only in the way that it's a daily video diary. And I've had an absolutely overwhelming response saying that you would love it. So that's really nice. Thank you all for being so positive about that. And here it is, the first one. So I don't know quite, as I said, it's going to be a video format, a video diary type format, talking about how we're getting on with the situation, talking about other stuff, talking about what we're doing to pass the time, just generally my life during the current situation. There are words apparently that YouTube are flagging and they don't like, so I'm trying not to use the C word or the Q word. So you know what I'm talking about anyway. Yeah, so I will try and avoid using those words, but I will try and keep it as positive as I can. But obviously it's a very real situation. It's we all have our moments of being scared, I'm sure, as I certainly do, and you know, it's got to be reality, hasn't it? That's, I guess, what you will want to see. But I do try and keep everything as positive as I can on here. But let me just talk about where we are currently with the situation. And sorry, there's a huge stream of traffic coming the other way, and people, which is surprising on this road. It's not usually so busy, especially at the moment. It's really generally quite quiet on the roads. So the Prime Minister announced yesterday more stringent measures in terms of not actually lockdown, but people, you know, taking measures to spend more time at home, and especially for the elderly and vulnerable, and no smashed social gatherings and no big sporting events and all that sort of thing. And I guess it's a pretty bleak outlook, isn't it? I think being scared of the unknown is I'm not particularly scared of the illness itself, so to speak. I'm really not. I think luckily for me, and I'm very grateful for this, I don't think I'm in a particularly high risk category, other than my age is slightly against me, but not as much as a lot of people's age, you know. So that's good. And I don't think Ashley is particularly either. We're both, cross fingers, quite fit and healthy. William's obviously young, so my parents are elderly, and Ashley's mother's elderly, obviously, so I'm slightly worried for them, but they're all in pretty good health, really, other than my dad's dementia. But yeah, I don't feel too scared for all of that. So yeah, I'm not scared of the virus, but I am scared of everything else. I'm scared of the unknown. I'm scared of what's going to happen. I'm scared about money. I'm scared about how long we're not going to be able to work for. I'm just scared about getting through the whole thing. And let me tell you a story. If I look calm now, I can assure you that I was a hot, crying mess a couple of hours ago. Will phoned yesterday from uni, and actually he didn't, I phoned him and said, just touch base, see how he was. And he was at home for the day because he wasn't very well. One of his closest friends is currently in self-isolation because he's got temperature and temperature and a cough. And Will spent a lot of time with him last week, and Will wasn't feeling well and had cold symptoms. Obviously that worries you when you I mean, although he's a low risk group, it worries me. You know, I'm 100 miles away from him. He's in Bath, I'm here. So I was quite worried about that, but not too bad, you know. I thought he probably only had a cold. I think we're all infected with the worry at the moment, aren't we? And we then talked to him again later on last night, and uni is actually closing at the end of the day today. Not closing, but all face-to-face teaching is stopping at the end of today and going online, they don't know what's going to, that's up until the Easter break at the moment. So hopefully he will be home in the next couple of days. But this morning I rang him first thing to see how he was, about 8:30, and no reply. And the last thing I'd said to him last night was, please, Will, it is a bit of an emergency situation, this whole situation the world is in. Keep your phone with you all the time, keep it switched on, and prioritise answering your phone to me if I ring you, unless you're driving. That was the last thing I said to him last night. So as you can imagine, when he didn't reply this morning, and I kept trying and still no reply, and I messaged, no text and no reply, and I was literally ready to get in the car and drive to Bath and find him. I was very upset, but then of course he rang and he'd been asleep and he hadn't heard the phone and yada yada yada. So he's all right. He feels a bit better today. He's going into uni for a tutorial. He's worried about the labs part of his course. He needs to know what's happening with that. Obviously, I assume it won't be carrying on, but he just wants to get some clarity on that, because that is one of the criteria for, passing the course this year, and getting into the next year. So he wants to find out about that, which he's going to do today. And then I think he'll be coming home tonight or tomorrow. So that's where we are with that. Ashley's business, I don't want to say too much because it's his business, not mine, but very worrying times. And with a estate agency, you generally work with a 3-month pipeline of agreed business that is going through. Ashley's, they don't know whether the business will go through or not, whether people are going to be able to move house, whether they're going to want to move house, whether they're going to pull out of sales. So that's an unknown. And Ashley felt that his social responsibility, at the point of the Prime Minister's announcement yesterday about social distancing, that his responsibility was to stop all viewings and anything, appointments in people's houses, which effectively will shut the business down for the foreseeable future, because you can't sell houses if people can't go and see them, can you? So that's a worry. So and there's issues around the business as well. I mean, obviously Ashley has life insurance, which would kick in the event he died. I'm not suggesting he's going to die of this or anything, but you just don't legislate or think about or plan for something like this on this scale, where you may have to effectively put your business on hold for 3 months or more. We're lucky, we have savings, we can withstand. It's, not endless savings, but I'm not going to be knocking on the door of a food bank anytime soon, thankfully. And I know a lot of you guys out there won't be in this position, and I thank God that I am. I can only talk about my own perspective, obviously, but I am aware that there's an awful lot of people in a way worse situation than us. We are one of the lucky ones, so please don't think that I'm being flippant or ungrateful for the situation I'm in. But everybody's worries are equally valid in their own situation, aren't they, I guess. So yeah, that's where we are with that. So at the moment Ashley's at work. He's seeing solicitors and accountants and putting some measures into place for various things that need to be done. For the foreseeable future, the only money that we're going to have coming in is rent from a flat that I own and I let out, and my eBay business. If I'm going to keep going my eBay business as long as I can, as long as they're posting and I'm able to get out to post stuff, I will keep that open. I see no reason to stop it. So that's the plan with that one. So let's move on to more cheery stuff. I've just been to drop my parcels off and had a few. Yesterday was very dead. The weekend was okay for sales, not too bad at all. And so I dropped my parcels, and I've also just been to a couple of charity shops in town. I am trying to build up my backlog a little bit, although I'm also quite aware that sales are probably going to tank completely and I don't want to spend too much money on stock. Thankfully I have got a bit of a backlog to list while we are housebound, pretty much. So I think today will be my last little trip. I'll show you a bit later what I bought to sell. And what else? I've also just been and picked myself up a McDonald's breakfast wrap. I very rarely, in fact I couldn't tell you the last time I had a McDonald's breakfast. Very rarely have a McDonald's breakfast, but weirdly for me, because usually with stress I'm an eater, I have not been feeling like eating very much at all over the last few days, and I've been skipping meals, not like me at all. I can only think of 2 other times in my life when stress has caused me to not be hungry and not want to eat. It's a very good thing, don't get me wrong. Very happy with the not eating so much scenario. Long may it continue. I could do with losing the weight. But after I've been into town, I just felt really hungry and I just quite fancied a McDonald's breakfast wrap. So I thought, while I can still get out and about, I will go and get myself one. So I'm going to go home and wash my hands very thoroughly and then eat it. And I've also made an appointment to have a haircut this afternoon. Don't know how long the hairdressers will be able to stay open, obviously. And I'm quite friendly with my hairdresser. She's due to get married next month, bless her. So I just can't imagine how she's feeling at the moment. I'm guessing that that's all very up in the air until we know a little bit more and get closer to the time. So it would be nice to see her and have a chat with her. I hope she's okay. And also it's supporting a local business type of thing, isn't it? I'm doing that as much as I can at the moment. Just really trying to buy local, and over the weekend we went to a couple of local cafes and that sort of thing while they're still open, just to try and put money in local people's pockets, you know. So that's an important thing. Doing something like that makes you feel like you're doing something positive, doesn't it? So that's good. It's just whatever you can do, isn't it, I suppose. Literally, as I walked into the house, my phone rang and it was Ashley, who has had a problem with his car. He's over in Torquay taking some stuff to his mother, and yeah, he's had a problem with his car and he wants me to take him some jump leads. Oh, hang on, let's see who this is. Hello?
Hello, can you bring an extension lead as well? There's a couple in the front of the garage. Alright.
Just looking at, just in the garage now, whereabouts? Right, I've got the battery charger and the extension lead, so I'm now off to Torquay to go and take those to Ashley so he can charge his car at his mother's. Sorry, I'm just shutting the garage door. Is that now shutting? Yes, I can hear it. Then I've got to drop him to the bank because, annoyingly, you know those little small calculator things that you have for accessing your bank account? Some banks have them still. Ashley has one for his work bank account, and hilariously, just on the day you need it to be working, yesterday, the battery ran out and you can't replace the battery in them. So we went to the local branch of the bank, who are closed because somebody has had a cough, and so he was that was where he was going, to Torquay, to the next closest bank branch, to get a new calculator so he can access his bank account. So I'm going to Torquay, taking the stuff for the car and take him to the bank to get the new calculator, then he'll bring me back here, drop me back here, then he can have my car. So it's all go today. Hello again, it's now 12:10 and I've just got back. I'm boiling the kettle for a very much needed cup of coffee. Ashley's car seemed to right itself and was working okay, so I dropped him to the bank, waited for him, picked him up, took him back to his car, and then followed him all the way home, or back to his office in his car, and it seemed to be okay now, so he's still in that. So fingers crossed it's just a electronic fault or something, so the light came on. So that would be good if that wasn't a problem. I've got about an hour and a half before I need to leave my hair appointment. I think I'm going to walk to the hairdressers because it's not very far and it'll be good to get some fresh air. I'm going to do some emails now, I think. But today's turning out to be busier than I anticipated it was going to. I don't know why we've got that sort of shadow around the edge. This is not open properly. There we are. That's better, isn't it? God, the camera's not working either. Oh, disaster on all fronts today. It's about 20 to 2, and I can't really settle to anything. I feel like we're just waiting. Like once Will's home and Ashley sorted the business out a bit more, I feel like we'd be ready to sort of hunker down and do our staying at home thing. Not that I'm not sort of ready. I just have this feeling that something's off, you know. I'm sure we all have that feeling as well. I'm sure you can completely understand what I mean. But one of the things that I really feel, I'm not a fan of wasting food anyway. Sorry, I've segued into something else completely. It's just how my mind's working today. I'm not a fan of wasting food anyway. I try to avoid wasting food where at all possible, but it feels even more important now. I don't know why, it just does. A couple of other people that I was chatting to on Facebook said the same. So I was going to do freezer dinner tonight. Just a ready meal out of the fridge, not a ready meal, a meal that I've previously cooked that I've batch frozen in the freezer. But I've just been through the fridge and I've got these tired looking spring onions, this tired looking pepper, and that half a tomato which needs using up. I've also got 2 rashers of bacon and some mushrooms, so I'm going to do a pasta bake of some description once I get back from having my hair cut. I've also found, annoyingly, this pate. It was a double pack, and I didn't even realise it was a double pack when I opened it because it was like that. And I pulled it out when I bought it, and it came handily portioned into 2. So we ate the first one, and I've just noticed the date on this is the 9th of March. And normally I would open it up, give it a sniff, and if it was okay, I'd probably eat it. But it has gone slightly discoloured. So bearing in mind, now is not the time to be getting food poisoning, is it, through your own stupidity? I am going to put that out for the birds because the birds will enjoy it and it will mean that I don't get food poisoning. It's the discoloration that's putting me off really. So yeah, so there's that. So there'll be no more of this. I'm going to get more organised with my fridge, definitely. So I'm going to throw away these flowers that they were bought for me very kindly by a friend of mine when Reg died, and they've lasted well. I've cut them down a couple of times and put fresh water in, but they are now at the very end. Before anybody tells me, I know they're lilies and I know they're poisonous to cats, but Ron does not go. They've been in here the whole time. I wouldn't put them in the lounge or in the dining room, but Ron doesn't go up here at all, so they've been up there. So I'm going to get rid of those and wipe all around to get rid of all the pollen. Always good to get your hair cut before Armageddon happens. I ended up driving because it was raining, and it actually is still sort of a bit wet in the air. So I'm going to pop down to Ashley's office and see everybody, have a quick cup of tea with them I think, and then head off home, waiting to hear from Will now, hoping that he will ring me because he should have finished his tutorial soon. This is a new little angle for you and it's not that good, is it? Oh, there we are, it's readjusted. There we are, that's better. Slightly too high. Just taking this off because I'm going to show you something. Let me just tell you what time it is and stuff first. It's 4 o'clock. I've just got back from town. I popped to Ashley's office after I said I was going to get my hair, or after I finished having my hair cut. Instead of my hair, I wanted to have it just a tiny bit off the length, and then I wanted this top bit cutting so I could wear it without clipping it back if I wanted to, and just sort of thinning out and the layers pushing back in. I'm really quite pleased with the cut, so that's good. Supported my local hairdressers, chatted to her. She was actually really zen about her wedding coming up. Bless her, it's the very beginning of May, so I don't know what's going to happen. And her dress was meant to be here and it hasn't arrived. It was coming from Australia for some reason, I don't know why, but there we are. Anyway, so that was good. Then I started feeling quite as though I didn't want to come back to an empty house by myself. Just a little bit of that sort of low-level anxiety. I'm sure you all have it at the moment and know what it's like. So I went and sat in Ashley's office, had a cup of tea, chatted to the people there for a little bit. And then Ashley and I popped to the local butcher to buy some meat for the freezer and support him, and had a little chat with him. And then I went past the charity shop and I saw this in the window. And I love a jigsaw anyway, but with more time being spent at home, I thought this was a really lovely, I love colourful jigsaws, so I thought that was really nice. So I'm looking forward to doing that one at some point. And I also said that I'd show you a couple of bits of clothing that I bought as well this morning at the charity shops. This I paid £6.75 for, and it is just a wrap. It's like a mint green wrap. This is the brand. I don't know the brand at all. Agnona, I guess, if it's Italian. And it's just like a big wrap that you do this with, but it's 100% cashmere. Sorry, that was the cat being frightened by me throwing the wrap. And I just thought this was really lovely. I don't know how well you can see that. It's so that type of wrap. In fact, it's so nice. Perhaps I should keep it, although I don't have anything for it to go with. So I need to look up and see if I can see anything about that brand, but that's got to be worth decent money. Brand new with its tags and 100% cashmere, so that's good. And then I got this frightful thing. This is 85% silk. This was only £1.99. It's vintage, I would say 80s or 90s, I guess, and it's all jewelled, and the sleeves or the cuffs are jewelled, and the bottom of it is jewelled in great big bright coloured jewelled things, and it needs a bit of a debubble, but somebody must want that monstrosity. Well, maybe not a monstrosity, maybe it's quite nice really. Yeah, I quite like it. That was £1.99, and then I got this hang on, let me turn you round again. Bowden cardigan. This is a 12 and it was £4.25. It's not exciting, I think it's only a cotton knit, but because of the colour I thought that was worth picking up. Bright colour things for Bowden always go quite well, but button is a little bit worn, but I actually don't know if it's meant to be like that. Maybe it's meant to be like that. Maybe that's sort of the look of it. I don't know. Anyway, William has rung as well while I've been out, and he is coming home tomorrow. His friends, a lot of his friends are staying till Saturday because they don't have their own cars, and public transport is quite disrupted now, and their parents have got to go and pick them up. But we said to Will we thought it would be better if he came back tomorrow, and he agreed, so that's good. So expecting him back tomorrow afternoon, so that will be nice. I feel like a lot of my anxiety and worry will lessen hugely once Will is back home, so that's good. He was horrified. He seemed to be under the impression that it's going to be a couple of weeks and everything will be back to normal, and he was a bit horrified when I said to him that I thought we were probably looking at 12 weeks of probably disruption, but who knows. I'm only pulling that figure out of the air because that was what the Prime Minister suggested last night for older people and the more vulnerable health-wise to stay in their houses for 12 weeks. So that's where I got that figure from, but we shall see. Nobody knows anyway. Right, I am going to... Actually, I don't know what I'm going to do. I might make a start on the pasta bake, or I might go and sit down for an hour and just chill out, watch a bit of YouTube, something non-virus related, something, and just switch off about it all for an hour. I feel like today has been not horrific, but I do feel quite stressy. I feel all right in myself now, but I feel like it's been a stressy day. I've got that stomach pain type of thing, which I'm sure you all know about. These videos will be more positive. I feel like I'm not starting off on a particularly positive note, but they will become more positive as time goes on, I promise. So anyway, I just want to make sure that I'm keeping it real as well. I want to strike a balance, you know, between keeping it real and being positive, and I think that's quite important. I don't want to just be all Miss Positive Pants and not address the situation such as it is. So many absolutely lovely comments from you guys about, and really positive about doing the video diary thing, so that is absolutely great. Do put below in the comments if there's anything specific you want me to talk about or ideas you have for this. I haven't got any sort of set in stone ideas at the moment, other than talking about what we can do to pass the time. And somebody suggested that I do a live every so often. I think that's a great idea, so you guys can all chat to me in the sidebar and I can talk to you, so that's like a real nice community thing. I'll probably do that on a mid-morning once a week, our time, or maybe mid-afternoon. That would be better for America, wouldn't it? Perhaps mid-afternoon might be a better time, I think, because then it's morning in America. If I do it mid-morning here, it will be late night there, or middle of the night, in fact. So I think mid-afternoon, so that's a good idea. And someone else suggested something else. No, did they or not? My mouth is talking faster than my brain is catching up. What was the other suggestion? No, the only other thing I thought I would do was a thought for the day at the end of each day, and talk about something that I'm grateful for that day. I don't know, perhaps I'll do gratitude during, I don't know, just to end on a positive type of thing. I haven't really formed that thought in my head yet, but I want to do some sort of, perhaps we'll start with some gratitude and end with some gratitude. I like that. What do you reckon to that? We'll start with a morning, so what we're grateful for that day, and I'll finish in the evening with what I'm grateful for as well. Yes, I think that's a good idea. But yes, anyway, I've whittled on for 8 minutes now, so I feel like this is going to be a long one, so I'm going to stop now, and I'll come back to you a little bit later on with a wrap up of the day. It's about 7:15. I'm tired. I woke up at about 4:30 this morning and didn't really go back to sleep. Worry, as you do. Everything's always worse at night, isn't it? Anybody else find that? Anyway, I don't want to go off on a great long ramble. Suffice to say, I'm going to call this a day for today. Not sure exactly how these diaries will evolve. It's just one of those let's wait and see things, just like everything else that's happening at the moment, I guess. So you'll see this, that I'm filming this Tuesday. You will see this on Thursday. By the time you see this, yesterday you would have seen a normal video. And so I'll probably work 2 days behind, although I might catch up to 1 day behind or I will catch up to 1 day behind at some point when I run out of pre-recorded content. So I just want to have a final thought for the day, and I just want to take a minute to think about all of the healthcare workers and those at the front line of fighting this virus, and how scary, however scary and difficult things are for all of us in our lives. All those people working for our NHS in this country and your healthcare providers in other countries across the world. Let's just take a little bit of time at the end of our day today to think about them and to be so grateful for everything they're doing for us. I know that a couple of the people who responded to my social media post today to ask whether you thought I should do these video diaries said that they worked in healthcare. One of them in particular was who I responded to, I think was a A&E nurse, and I can't imagine how difficult times are for you guys, and really appreciate that you're, you know, pretty much putting your lives on the line to save and work, save people, and just do your very best at these times. And I will be thinking about you very much over the coming weeks, as I'm sure we all will. So big, massive thank you to all those in healthcare. And of course, we're not just the people on the front line of that, people caring for the elderly and vulnerable and all those people in a caring role. You know, it's something that it's not, they can't just go home and hunker down and wait to see what happens and be safe in their homes. They're having to put themselves out there every day. So for that, I think we ought to think about them. So I will be back tomorrow with another video diary. I'm going to go and cook some pasta and watch some trash TV now. And I will see you all tomorrow. Thanks for watching. Bye bye.